Sustainable seems like a growing trend. You
Yeah.
know, it seems like that matters more to founders today, especially who've lived through multiple cycles of startups.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, from your perspective, why that might be the case.
My two co-founders, I think we've seen a few different sort of cohorts or eras of like startups, right? And many of the previous eras where it was like grow at all costs, raise a ton of money, figure it out later sort of situation means that, yeah, having a war chest means you can afford to make a ton of mistakes. And then at some point you show enough progress you can raise again. I think we always felt like that was the wrong way to build things because we had been employees where seeing what the sort of side effects of some of that might be downstream just didn't feel great. You know, we want to build something where if there's a great outcome, every employee should feel like an owner of the business and should be able to celebrate that outcome. And I think that can only be possible if you're very deliberate about how you sort of build it from day one. And part of that is just how much money you raise. I see a lot of startups today that sort of trick themselves into thinking they have product market fit super early on, when in fact, maybe they don't. And when they do that, when they do think and convince themselves they do, they go out and raise a massive round. Now they have all this money in the bank, and the temptation then is to put that money to work by hiring an army of people, maybe VP with a Rolodex and filling out the org chart. And many of those decisions cannot be, you can't unwind them really quickly. And so downstream of that, if you actually don't have as much traction as you thought, or the business or the market ends up changing much more than you're anticipating, it's really then hard to adapt and navigate. And so we much rather be in a position where we're very deliberate. We will grow the team as fast as we think we need to, but every team member we do add is like someone we think is a must-have at that point in time. As we're growing the overall kind of, our own market opportunity, we have a ton of like energy going into it, there's momentum going into it versus tricking ourselves into thinking we have something that we don't.